Yo, 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 wrestling fans, this Sunday, July the 25th, JTG joins us at MWF Studios in Melrose, Massachusetts for a series of Wrestling Insider tapings and live cyber autograph signing. Want to join us in studio live with JTG? Join the Boston Wrestling Patreon family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling or pre-order your photo. JTG will autograph and personalize live on the air and give you a shout out at bostonwrestling.com. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marty.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Johnny, the fans just haven't asked for it, they have demanded it.
This August, we're headed back to Tampa for Wrestle House 2.
WrestleMania weekend, we brought you Sinister Minister James Mitchell, TJP, Demolition Smash, Al Snow, Dutch Mantel Zeb Coulter, JTG of Primetime, and WWE Hall of Famer Gerald Briscoe for in-depth interviews and live interactive cyber autograph signings.
And if you want our Wednesday Night Wrestling Insider Special Edition episodes to continue, we need your help to bring these superstars' careers and lives to life.
Bringing you free content 7 days each week is an expensive proposition. Between appearance fees, air travel, renting the house, the equipment, and everything that goes in to a week of shooting, we can't do it without you.
As we prepare to return to producing live in-ring events, help us bring you the superstars and legends of yesterday and tomorrow by visiting Indiegogo now and check out some of the great rewards.
Wrestling fans, it's going to be a wild week in Tampa the first week in August. Get ready for Wrestle House 2. All right, Tony, we're into 1985 now. One thing about your career in WWF, and even I think you were still around for the WWF, right?
Yeah.
Yep. They always protected you at Madison Square Garden. Always protected you at MSG, which was, if you want to talk about before the days of pay-per-view events, MSG was the WrestleMania of each month. It was the pay-per-view, the big event and whatnot. To be at MSG, that was the place to be. And they always kept you strong at MSG. Was there a reason for that?
Not really.
No.
See, they based everything on ratings, putting asses in the seat. So when they have a person that they could, see, they put Hogan on, I don't know if you noticed that, he was always on the middle of the car, he was never last.
He'd go on right before intermission.
He was never last.
Very, very rarely.
They never been last. Now what it is, they always needed a guy that could keep the people there. And I was that guy that they would stay to watch me.
Funny enough.
No matter what, they would not leave that building to watch me. And at WrestleMania, you mentioned that earlier, they had this idea to let me wrestle King Kong Bundy.
Now we're talking the very first WrestleMania, March 31st, 1985.
Very first WrestleMania, where earlier, about 6 months earlier, I wrestled Bundy on television before he became King Kong Bundy. He was wrestling under his regular name, Chris
Payless, I think?
Right.
Yeah.
He had long hair.
Really?
And had a gimmick like the one-man game. He was 400 pounds. Well.
And this was WWF?
There was WWF. Vince Sr. was running it. So me and him, we wrestled. Well, he moved around the ring like a 130-pound guy. I mean, very agile, and Vince got very impressed with him. Well, the thing was, all the wrestlers was peeking out the door. So SD told me later why they was peeking out the door, because my finished move, I did a press slam.
You pressed Bundy?
I pressed Bundy.
Get out of here.
I pressed Bundy.
Wow.
And the only one that believed that I would do it was SD. SD, everybody said he would never get him up. He never. Now, Vince Sr. never looked at the jobbers, as we call them. So when he said Tony, put Chris with Tony, he never saw Chris. And Skolin told him, said, did you see who you want Tony to press slam? And Vince Sr. said, no, who? He said, look at that guy. So Vince Sr. came through the door. He always had these quarters. He did like
He's always jingling the quarters.
$7.
$7.
He did like that. And when he got nervous.
Really?
Or he started jiggling them things. So he looked in the ring. Now I was supposed to press slam this guy for my finish. And when Vince, the first time Vince looked at him was really in the ring with me. So SD said, don't worry, boss man, get him up. Boss man, get him up. He get him up. I know boss man can do it. So the Captain Blue Alabama said, no, he's never going to lift that guy. The guy got to be 400 pounds. So I press slammed Bundy. They never showed the tape.
Really? How
They
come?
sunned because of the way he moved. They sent him away, and I didn't hear anything about him for about 6 months to a year later. He came back as Bundy. Now, at WrestleMania 1, it's supposed to be Tony Atlas versus King Kong Bundy.
What happened, Tony?
They gave me $2,000 not to show up
Why?
because I would have press slammed him.
Well, S.D. Jones got the spot. I wonder how much he got for the payoff for that one.
He probably got paid good, but I was the first and only wrestler that was paid not to show up. Most wrestlers get paid to show up. I was paid not to show up.
The month before...
Scola saw me getting in the cab to go to Madison Square Garden. Said, they don't want you on this one. They don't want you on this one. Vince want to save you for the next one. He's going to do another one. He want to save you for the next one. He said, here's $2,000. Had a big suitcase. Here's $2,000. You and your wife, y'all go out and enjoy yourself. I was on my way to the building. They stopped me going to the building. I was right at the door. Wouldn't let me in the door. WrestleMania 1.
Well, the month before, I found it interesting that I think might have been the first pinfall loss that you had at MSG in February of '85 to Paul Orndorff. Orndorff was being groomed for the main event at WrestleMania the next month. What was the anticipation like for the boys? I mean, WrestleMania, it's a show at Madison Square Garden with a fancy name and some celebrities. Certainly not what it is now. A lot of the top guys in WWF were left off the first WrestleMania. Don Morocco came to mind. Ken Patera was pretty hot. He wasn't on it. Adonis and Murdoch was still around. Samoans, just a ton of guys that if it was a modern day type WrestleMania, they would have had a spot for. WrestleMania 1 was almost like a juiced up house show. You know, you had the top guys there with the big celebrities, but you had undercard guys, jobbers, you could say, on the show. It certainly wasn't a WrestleMania like you'd see now. Were the guys, did they expect it to be the big event that it turned into?
Oh, yeah, because they did Shea Stadium before.
Oh, yeah, that was several years before.
So they knew.
There was magic in the air?
They knew, yeah.
Did you interact in the lead up to the event with any of the celebrities? I know there was a lot of heat between the Piper clique and Mr. T headed into the event. Did you interact with Mr. T at all?
Mr. T was a Tony Atlas fan.
Was he?
He used to come to Chicago and watch me wrestle all the time. I got a picture with me and Mr. T in my phone right now. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah. He was a good guy. I like T. He's a brother, you know. Brother, when one brother see another brother doing good, he got to go to him. Like when I saw Mike Tyson, soon as Mike Tyson saw me, I didn't go to Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson come to me, Tony Atlas, how you doing, brother? When I met Muhammad Ali, same thing.
Really?
Yeah. It's a camaraderie between brothers, you know, that made it up the ladder, you know. When we see each other, we're going to congratulate each other, and it's a brother thing.
Do you think, was T difficult for the guys to work with?
No, they love T.
Piper?
T didn't pay Piper no man.
Really?
T don't worry about anybody he can knock out.
Well, was T the legit tough guy that he was portrayed upon on TV?
Yes.
There's a lot of people that say no, was he?
Yeah, because they didn't never met him.
T was a badass?
T was badass.
Could T have taken Piper and Orndorff if it turned into a shoot?
He could have worked both of them together.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Come on now. Who you
Well, Orndorff is a pretty tough guy.
Orndorff was not tough.
Orndorff wasn't tough?
Not like Mr. T, no.
Really?
No.
Now, let me ask you this. I don't know. What was Mr. T's background that made him such a tough guy?
But Mr. T was a bodyguard.
Was he an amateur wrestler?
No, he was a bodyguard.
A bodyguard?
He was a bodyguard. And he became famous when they had this tournament to be the toughest bodyguard in the world. And they put them all in the room, and T would throw people through a wall. T was a legitimate, rugged SOB, brother. There was nothing soft about T.
Really?
We stopped him from hurting David Shook one night, and Chief J. Thorpe said when he grabbed a hold of Mr. T, was like grabbing a piece of steel.
Really?
T was legitimate, man.
So what happened between T and Dr. D?
Nothing, because we held Mr. T back. And,
But I mean, what?
And the cops arrested him. See, he wanted
Who
to
got
get in a
arrested?
fight. Which David Shook tried to pick a fight with Mr. T in order to get on the show.
He was another one that was off the show, right?
Yeah, they kept him on the show. So he was going to fight Mr. T to show how tough he was. And they had to grab Mr. T and hold T back. No, T was legitimate. He was the real deal, man. A lot of guys were the real deal that didn't win. You know, because you were tough, that don't mean they're going to make you champion.
Right.
You know, there were certain people that, like I say, when someone else dictate your coming, your going, your growing, your losses, your wins, It's up to Vince. It ain't up to the wrestlers. Now with Vince Sr., it was up to you. You know, if you deserve that spot, Vince Sr. would put you in that spot. With Vince Jr., you could deserve that spot, but if Vince Jr. don't want you in that spot, you ain't gonna be in that spot. He don't care how good you are, he don't care. He want who he want there.
Thank you for joining us. Please give the video a big thumbs up, leave us a comment, and subscribe to the channel to enjoy more great content. Don't forget, you can help keep wrestling legends working. Check out our eBay store and join the Boston Wrestling family at patreon.com/Boston Wrestling so we can produce more in-depth shoot interviews.